Ban Ki-moon, and I'd like to bring in my colleague here, Liling Tan, who's been following these climate talks all day. Am I right? Did these strikes over Syria and the reaction kind of overshadow the centerpiece of what this whole week was meant to be about, battling climate change?
Yes, Nathan, it definitely overshadowed to quite a degree as well. Now, this was the day for the climate summit to shine, a whole day of these meetings and speeches from some of the world's most powerful people, but attention was diverted away by the airstrikes in Syria. For example, at a press conference that was held by the Secretary talking about the climate summit to brief the press about that summit, but he spent the first half of that talking about the UN's response to these airstrikes. So definitely the attention, it had to share attention with Syria. But that's not to say the summit was a failure. It was a success. It did accomplish the goals that Ban Ki-moon had set out to accomplish, to devote a whole day to the climate summit, to get leaders to come forth with broad, big, bold ideas, and also to spotlight this global problem that requires global attention. From bold measures to cut greenhouse gas emissions to big ideas on embracing cleaner energy. At Tuesday's United Nations Climate Summit, high wattage guests from both the developing and developed worlds delivered their nation's commitment and promises to fight global warming.
In recent years, Bangladesh has undertaken significant steps. We now have 3.2 million solar home systems.
We're investing in all forms of lower carbon energy, including shale gas and nuclear, with the first new nuclear plant coming on stream for a generation. Now, as a result of all that we are doing, we are on track to cut emissions by 80% by 2050.
Eyes were especially focused on what the world's leading polluters had to say, including China, the world's largest source of carbon emissions. Addressing the assembly, Chinese Vice Premier Zhang Gaoli cited a World Bank study showing that in 2013, China cut its carbon dioxide emissions by nearly 30% from 2005 levels. That's the equivalent of saving the world 2.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide. The Vice Premier also expressed his country's commitment to meeting its carbon reduction targets and setting new ones.
We will announce post-2020 actions on climate change as soon as we can to markedly reduce carbon intensity, increase the share of non-fossil fuels, and raise the forest stock.
The United States, the world's second largest emitter of greenhouse gases, continues to take big steps to change this. U.S. President Barack Obama said the U.S. has made great strides in clean energy investments and carbon reduction, now harnessing 3 times as much electricity from wind energy and 10 times as much from the sun as the country did when he took office.
5 years ago, I pledged America would reduce our carbon emissions in the range of 17% below 2005 levels by the year 2020. America will meet that target. And by early next year, we will put forward our next emission target, reflecting our confidence in the ability of our technological entrepreneurs and scientific innovators to lead the way. So today I call on all major economies to do the same.
Nathan, from France towards the UN's Green Fund that helps poor countries deal with the effects of climate change, and also $6 million from China for the South-South collaboration for developing countries to deal with the issue.
But they still haven't brought everyone together, have they? You know, all the day here. Obviously, Barack Obama, the US president, very closely watched because of the airstrikes in Syria as well, and there'll be a key UN Security Council meeting in the afternoon where they'll try and get a resolution to stop the flow of foreign fighters coming from not just the Arab world, but Europe and also the Americas into Iraq and Syria to support the Islamic State. So a very key day coming up here at the United Nations General Assembly. Back to you in the studio.
Nathan Liling, thanks so much.